Welcome to 12 dreamy days of the hero's journey. I'm Kelly Sullivan Walden, aka Dr. Dream, and I'm so happy to be with you. Today is day 2 of the 12 days, and I am joined by my dreamy friend and hero, Shiro, Lisa Campion. Love this woman so much. She is the best-selling author, I can speak, of The Art of Psychic Reiki, and literally #1 bestseller. And she is the Reiki and just a healing practitioner at a very, very high level. And Lisa, I could go on and on and on about all of your qualifications, but I really want people to know that your book is something that they have to get if they haven't already. And I know that you do private sessions with people as a psychic and as a healer in general overall. And you teach classes with Reese Thomas.
Yep. I teach in the Institute, Reese Thomas Institute. It's an energy medicine school. I teach Reiki and I teach psychic development classes. So I'm really feel like my mission in life is to train the healers, empaths, psychics to fully step into their gifts. Because I think the world needs all the healers it can get, especially right now. And we're being called, the healers are being called to awaken right now. And that's where I
so that is exactly what we're talking about today. So Lisa's website is lisacampion.com.
Yes.
And I know in Spanish, campion is champion.
Yeah.
So you have like hero embedded in your name. Okay, so to you in your world, what is a hero? What constitutes a hero?
I think that, there's lots of different ways. Like my son's in the Marine Corps, and he's like this big guy. He's like ready to die for his country. And, I'm a mama. So when he joined the Marines, I was like, what happens if something happens to you? And he's like, Mom, it's an honor to die for your country. And he really, really, really meant it. Like I could feel like down to his soul, he really meant it. And I think that's one kind of hero, the kind of hero that we're sort of used to. And he definitely fits that. But for me, the hero is more like the Jedi Knights, like I like the spiritual warriors, and people who kind of are I say like fighting in God's army, or in alignment with and I first turned on to that idea when I was quite young, and I read Dan Millman's The Peaceful Warrior, and that was sort of right coming out of this time of Star Wars. And when I was really little, all I wanted to do was be a Jedi Knight. And I think I've been trying to figure out how to be a Jedi Knight ever since then. So for me, the hero is more, the spiritual journey that's leading us through the darkness of our soul. Kind of, it's more of an alchemical experience. But I also find, very inspirational, ordinary people who face extraordinary circumstances, and to see the heroes there. Like, you're from California, there's just all those wildfires there. And I was really fascinated with the Camp Fire, and the town that just got wiped away, that Paradise.
Right. Paradise.
Right? So ironic, right?
Yeah.
And to sort of hear the stories of everyday heroism that happened, or the people that are just dealing with very ordinary people that are dealing with really difficult things that push them to face difficulties, and those are the clients that I see every day, just people who don't think of themselves as special, or don't seem to, but their life circumstances push them into these extraordinary growth processes. And I love what Carolyn Mace says, trauma initiates us or cripples us.
Hang on. Trauma initiates us or cripples us. Because we always have a choice. It's not guaranteed.
Exactly. And for me, the heroes are the ones that choose the initiation.
Oh, that is so well said. That's so great. Excellent. So in your world, is there a difference between the hero and the shiro?
I think there are. I do love the concept of the Shiros, and I don't know if anyone has done sort of, I'm sure it has been done, sort of feminine version of the hero journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think that probably men and women do it in really different ways. I think there is. Yeah, there's a difference.
How do you experience it? I know that you were a part of our Shiro workshop with Wendy Kaplan.
Yeah.
Um, do you experience, like, if I call you a Shiro versus a hero, what does that, I don't know, does that do anything? Does it
I
resonate
think
differently?
it
It might
does.
not, but
I think in a way it does, you know, and I don't know, like, I feel like it's maybe more of an internal yin yang thing. So I feel like
uh-huh.
there's a yin way
Yes.
to handle it and a yang way to handle it. And I know many women that go the hero's path. They're
Right.
really dealing with their life on more of a yang footing. And then I think there are men and women who handle things more from the yin perspective. And
Right.
I would say probably that it has more to do with our inner polarity rather than
Right.
our, you know, our external gender, or what's, I guess
Right.
your external gender is what's inside your pants, but your internal gender, you know, is like what's inside your soul, you know, like,
Oh,
and
I love that.
I
It's
think
not
that's
what's inside your pants, it's what's in your soul. That's
right.
another hashtag. That's so great. Okay. So you've recently come through quite an entire cycle of a hero's journey.
Yeah.
Um, when you and I talked a couple years ago, you've got a bunch of books that you've got great ideas about that have some tracking, like you've done some work on them. But you were like, you really caught the vision. I'm going to do this book, The Art of Psychic Reiki, which was then, at the time, it was Reiki for Empaths,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
At first. And then, yeah, Reiki for
Reiki for
Empaths.
Psychics and Empaths was my working title.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, okay, I'm going to write this book. So that's usually the call to adventure, which happens to be the stage that we're talking about today on day 2. We talked about the ordinary world last time, and the call, that's the card from the Oracle deck, that we're talking about today. You got called to adventure in that you got the call to do this book. And then you had your difficulties along the way, but you approached this like such a hero. I mean, you literally didn't stop even when it was difficult for you. So what would you say is even using this last hero's journey as a template, what's the biggest difficulty that you find on you keeping on your hero's journey, on your hero's path? And what's your hack for how to get off of that and keep going?
I'm so glad that I did keep going. And I have to say, this is probably one of the most challenging things that I've ever done. And every single stage of it challenged me to the edge of what I thought I could do.
Yay! Everyone's got a book in them. Everyone's like, yay, but so few actually write them. It's hard.
It's so hard. And just when I thought that I was done, the next stage would come along and I'd be like, what? I'm gonna do, what do I
I
have to
thought
do
this is
now?
supposed to be easy.
And
When
each
does it
one,
get fun?
I was just literally at my edge the entire process. And then I'm standing on the brink again of feeling the call. So I'm feeling the second book, like it's a bit like, you know, being pregnant, like after you've given birth and going, I'm never going to do that again. And then you're like, oh, wait a second, you know, I'm going to do that again. Like,
Right.
you know, and so that's the call that I feel. I think it is the call that made me stick to my guns, and
Because it hit
that
you so
kind of,
deeply.
yes. And I feel like it's like the stirring of my soul. It's like the
Mm.
feeling of my soul's work here, or my life purpose here, that pushes me, you know, like literally to get out of bed at 5 a.m. to work, or to push through the thing that I can't do. Because it's like a pressure in the back of my neck, in the back of my heart. Like I think of my soul having its hand in my back and pushing me, you know.
Oh, that's beautiful imagery. Your
And
soul in the back of your back. That's just
go
pushing.
like
Right.
pushing me forward through all these barriers. And I don't, that really is the call, you know. It's really that the calling for me to serve, you know. How can I help, and how can I take what I know? If I can take what I know and give it to people in a way they can get it, I could help more people.
So what I'm getting from what you're sharing here is there's actually 2 pieces I want to pull apart. So for those who are listening saying, well, I want to call, I want to have my, like, what's my hero's journey going to be? First of all, in a meta sense, we're all on one all the time. You can't not be on one because you're human and you're here. But if you want to really get into one that you can identify, then it starts in a way with that question. That's even, I would say that's pre-call. That's you kind of calling on the call, like you asking the questions. I want to have a life that matters. I want to like live into my purpose and be of service. So that's, you can kind of prime the pump with those questions. But then once you do that, bam, here comes the call, like, okay, write this book, or go to this workshop, or lead this thing, or say hello to this person, or make a phone call, or go to school, or do a session with Lisa, whatever. Like you might get the call, and then it's like, it seems like what I just heard you say, when it's a project, when it's like a big thing, if it hits you in a deep and soulful enough way, then it becomes undeniable. As opposed to, there's a lot of creative people that get like 1,000 ideas a day, woo! But are all of those a call to adventure? Not necessarily. You can't do every single thing.
Yeah,
So address that.
that's it. Then that is an issue for me because I'm a highly creative person, and I'm constantly thinking of new things. And Wendy, our fellow Shiro,
Wendy Kaplan.
Wendy Kaplan, our fellow Shiro, she calls it the shiny penny syndrome. And
Right.
I'm very like susceptible to the distraction of the shiny penny. But when I committed to the book and did so in the coaching group, our Shiro's coaching group, she really taught me to think in terms of is the shiny penny going to move me forward and on this goal? And it really came to me because she asked a question, or you did, somebody did in this Shiro's group. What are you going to feel like on your deathbed if you haven't accomplished something? You know, like when you are on your deathbed and you look back at your life, what is the one thing that you are going to regret not having done? And the answer to me was write the book.
Oh, that is brilliant. Okay, so it's one of those bigger ones. It's the weightier things because you can't pick everything. You could get distracted and get manic.
Right.
But if you pick the one thing, then you can like ride that one all the way through. So
yeah, I learned how to do it really from her in setting this goal. And it was like committing to a year of this coaching group, and then filtering every decision that I had or every shiny penny that I have is this going to forward me on that goal or not? And I said no to a lot of very cool shiny pennies.
Wow.
In order to really buckle down and bring that one all the way through.
It takes sacrifice. There's Wes and Victoria, these friends of mine, they're songwriters. They wrote a song about sacrifice. It's like everything is sacrifice. If you don't do the thing you came here to do, but you do everything else, you're sacrificing the big thing. If you do the big thing, then you're sacrificing a lot of short-term, yummy, fuzzy, wonderful little things. I mean, there's no way of getting around sacrifice, but like sacrifice with a capital S, comes from the Latin root. I believe it's sacra, which is blood, but it also means like to give your blood, to give something lesser in order to have something greater. To make something great, you have to give something up. You have to like put your blood into it. So I feel like you did that. You gave up some lesser, yummy, bright, shiny objects, but you gave us this, like this holy child. You birthed Jesus. You might not have birthed all the other babies, but you gave us Jesus. So hallelujah.
I don't know about that, but it was my version of that. Like it's my
exactly. You're virgin, since it's like Christmas holidays right now. But you did it. Okay, so let's just say what would you say is if you can look at the theme, because every hero's journey, there's going to be resistance to the call. There's going to be difficulty. So we could say that's in common for all. Would you say that the nature of your biggest stumbling block is, or difficulty to sticking on your path, even though you come around and you do get back on? But what is the challenge?
You know, it's still continuing to challenge me. And we were just talking about this, right? That I think it's the fear. It's fear of, I mean, I'm a fairly disciplined person. So when I set my mind, some people have the problem with discipline. They can't make themselves sit down and do it. And I don't have a problem with that. I think from my years of studying martial arts, I was a martial artist. And so I have a side of me that is super disciplined. That's not a problem. But fear is the problem. Fear of revealing yourself, fear of being seen. And I think writers all have this conflicting desire to be seen and deep fear of being seen. And at every level, so I still find this today. Like I was just at a book signing on Saturday. And,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. Yeah. And I notice when people say they buy my book, I get really excited because I want people to, so people say, I bought your book. And I'm like, thank you. And I genuinely mean it. And then they say, I'm reading your book and I want to die.
Oh.
I want to die. I'm like, oh my God, they're reading it. Like, that's terrifying to me. It's literally makes me just spin, and just thinking about it, just saying that, I got spun out a little bit. Like I got a little dizzy. And it's that, you know, the next level, the next book or the next article or and as I level up my visibility, I'm really on the edge of terror, actually, all the time around that, what it's like to be seen at that level.
Thank you so much for revealing that, Lisa, because I think it is such an interesting juxtaposition. Oh, that's my dog Shadow. Let's get rid of that. But to be somebody who comes from such a deep place like you, there's a relative introversion around that, like this ability to look within and to be still and connect with what's invisible and inaudible and all of that, and then to just go cut yourself open and like, ta-da, here's my guts and my blood and my bones and my innermost everything. Like that, just those energies don't normally go together. Normally you kind of stay deep and introspective and healing and keep that all over to the side, or you're like, hey, here I am, without really revealing anything of any depth. But to be able to bring both of those together is kind of mind-blowing. And it's the greatest thing because you're bringing depth and contribution from like the core of the earth all the way up to where people need it and people get it. And so what you have to bring is a gift, but also the fact that you've gone the whole distance in spite of the terror to bring it is another gift, maybe of equal importance as the gift itself, the main gift. So I'm so grateful for you. What do you do then? How do you keep going? Is it just your discipline that has you keep going, or what do you do? You're faced with the terror, and then what? How do you get through it?
I have really good coaches, you know, and you are one of them. You've been, you know, one of my book midwives and one of my book coaches, and to really surround myself with people that believe in me, that, you know, I have quite a few in my, I don't know, maybe 5 people that are very strong supporters, believers, that offer really radical help. And when I quail or shake or hit a wall I think I can't push through, I get on the phone with one of them and I get support. And I've had people like texting me like, you know, you can do this. I'm heading into the TV station to be on the TV show, right? And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And one of my people is like, you've totally got this. You know, you've totally got this. And you're going to be, and I tell myself, I do a lot of self-talk too, my own self-talk. So I always tell myself, I'm going to be really proud of myself when it's done, you know? It's like, I know it's hard. I do like inner child, like, I know it's hard and it's scary, but you're going to be so proud of yourself when it's done. And
oh, that's wonderful.
It's always true. So I think it's that I am proud of myself when it's done. And I've been thinking lately, like really feeling deeply that for me, I'm either on this edge, I'm either working my edge of this growth, which is always exciting and terrifying, or I'm sort of dying, you know, like I'm I'm on the path towards death. And I don't choose that. I choose this ever expanding, pushing the envelope into this new space, which is excitement, terror, excitement, terror, excitement, terror, you know, and I talk to myself nicely. I celebrate myself when I've done it. And I have people around that hold space for me when I can't do it.
Oh, that's such an excellent formula. And I really, really love that you're not just forging ahead, like feeling the fear and just forging ahead. I love that you stop and you have that little dialogue with that little vulnerable girl inside. Because I've known people that have just forged ahead, and it seems like there develops a split. Like it's almost like, shut up, little girl, get into your closet and like stick something in your mouth and shut up. And eventually she busts out of the closet and like says, nope, I'm taking out all y'all down. Like there can be that's when the sabotage kicks in. But if you comfort that precious little vulnerable one and love her up and let her know that you're going to be proud of her when you do this. And if she didn't come along for the ride, I think the depth and the juiciness wouldn't be as much as it would be if she was on the sidelines somewhere.
Right. And I totally agree. And I find that, you know, when you're committed to pushing the envelope, it doesn't ever stop. You know, like you're always, I'm like, always, I get to leave my comfort zone.
People are going to click off this video. Okay, I'm out. No, don't click off. Keep going. It's going to be okay.
I'm always on the edge of my comfort zone. I get to stay there for like 5 minutes. I know that's true for you too. And I think that all of us that are working our edge, that's where we live. And the only reason I can do it, or one of the only, is because I'm very kind to myself about it. You know, right. I'm really good at managing my own inner life.
Huge.
You know, and
Huge.
That's what keeps me able. And right now, my inner child sort of trusts me. You know what I mean? Because I'm very, like, she'll be like, I don't know about this. And I'll be like, oh, it's, you know, going to be okay. Or, you know, and
right.
Like, hey, I've got a little leeway with myself there because I consistently show up for myself in that realm.
This is so important. I remember years ago, before I really started doing the work to integrate, I remember I had this dream that there was this blonde teenager that looked a lot like me. It was me. And she was totally flipping me off. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I don't trust you. I'm out. And so it was like, oh my God, my younger self doesn't trust me. And for good reason. I had given her no reason to trust me. So I feel like I've had to earn that trust back. And it's not overnight, but it is such an important thing. And I think that it can be, I mean, I'm calling these #hero hacks, like hacks to be able to get back on. And I think it's not just like a military kind of a vibe. It is like stop, pause, put your hand on your heart, recognize yourself. What does this little one want? How can you create a reward on the other side of it so that it stays yummy? And I love Michael Beckwith's quote that goes along with this. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. So we got to keep doing that. So why is it important? Why is this we're talking about it sort of personally, but from a meta perspective, why is this an important conversation to have? Why is this time in our history or herstory an important time for people to get on their hero's journey or own their hero's journey more consciously?
Well, that's a great question. And I think that for me, especially working in the space of healing and as a healer, I really believe that the healers are being called right now. And I think you could call it whatever you want. You could call it shift. You could call it the ascension. You could call it sort of, which I never quite believed in that until about a year ago, when I really began to see this acceleration in human consciousness that we're going under, these changes that are happening in our world, in our country, in our consciousness that that I think are putting the call into people. So I noticed that more and more people are feeling called to whatever their life purpose is. And I feel like there's the generations that are coming after us, like my kids and even the younger ones than that, have more of a sense of their call. And they're less willing to deal with kind of the bullshit that we, you know, the surface level things that we sometimes put up with I see them as very passionate, very narrowly focused into their mission, many of them, you know. So I just think there's this general stirring of the pot, stirring up of people's desire to live a more authentically, desire to fully express their life purpose. And I mean, I've been working as a psychic for over 30 years, and I can tell you the single number one question that I get is, what's my purpose?
Oh,
it drives people nuts when they don't know. We know we're for something, you know, and it makes people so miserable and unhappy when they know they're for something, but they can't figure out what it is. And I think the pot's boiling over, and we're all want to do that. We all want to know. We all want to live that. We don't want to live a shallow, meaningless life. You know,
we want to contribute. We want to be of service. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to, not everybody has to write a best-selling book like you, Lisa. Not everybody has to end up on the news and be like a public figure. I think you can be heroic in a very ordinary way, even if you're not out there, and even if nobody but your close circle. I mean, I know a lot of people that are the hero within their own family, within their own community. Right. You know, there's so many different ways to do it. You just know when you're being called, and you just have to do that, whatever that is to you. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, let's see, should we just have you, I'm going to have you pick a card. This will be your card for today.
Awesome.
So this is the one theme is the call to adventure, which is one of my favorite cards that Rasuli created. But I'm going to shuffle these babies, and you're going to say stop, and that'll be your card and everybody's card for today. So I'm going to show you the cards, but no cheating. Not that you would cheat. Okay.
Wow, they're beautiful. Okay, stop.
Okay. Ooh, this is a brand new deck. So, okay, you got Celebrate the Sacred Gap. Ooh, I haven't picked this one yet. This is card number 47. This is towards the end, because the hero's journey isn't always in order, you know? I mean, it's not supposed to be. It's holographic. It's not just this linear thing. Okay, so it said, here's the little quote. This is an Abraham Hicks quote. This is the longest one in here. The buffer of time gives us the opportunity to get it right before it manifests, to take pleasure from the vision and from the molding it into place. Can you imagine if everything was manifesting instantly? You would manifest this and you would manifest that. Ooh, where am I doing this? You would manifest it away, and then you would manifest that, and then it would be a difficult thing if you were instantly manifesting every whim or every misaligned thought. It's so much better that you have this buffer of time where you can feel it into perfection before it manifests into your experience. Abraham Hicks. The message is, be grateful for the space between where you are and where you long to be. The sacred hiatus is where you embody the elixir, your enlightened state, so that your walk and talk are unified. Soon there will be no distance between who you are and what you long to be. This alchemy is not to be rushed. Just as with the process of turning grapes into fine wine, there are no shortcuts. However, if you wanted to give the process a nudge, fast forward the movie of your life to the scene where you have fully embodied the elixir. Imagine that. To quicken the process, begin to feel the wonder of how this will feel, how you will walk, talk, and radiate. The dream symbol is slow motion, or the inability to move. Dreams of running or walking in slow motion, or of words coming out slowly or not at all when you try to speak, symbolize integration. You are in the process of working out what to do with your new skills or knowledge. You can quicken the gap between where you are and where you want to be by envisioning how it will feel when you step into your power. And your mantra is, in the hologram of life, I already have it all, and I'm already where I want to be.
That's great. It was the perfect card for me, Kelly, because I feel like I've been pushing myself to start the next book, and I like need time. I actually just need a little time.
Yes.
And to kind of integrate that whole experience. And I feel the push, like start the new book, and I'm not really ready. And I keep pushing out I'm like, well, I'll start it in December, and December rolled around. I'm like, I'm not ready.
Oh,
I'll
no.
start it in January. Maybe not even then. I just need a little time, because I know once I
The
start,
sacred gap.
I'm going to be back in it. And I don't know if I'm ready. So the sacred gap is exactly perfect for me.
Right, because sometimes in that sacred gap, just like dreaming or sleeping, it might look unproductive, but it might be the most productive thing you can ever do. The chilling out. I mean, even at the Huffington Post, I know I was there a few years ago and they had the nap room. And I was asking somebody, they said, oh, yeah, we're all required at least once a week to take a nap while we're here because we know the value. I mean, Ariana Huffington had to learn the hard way from being sleep deprived and breaking her cheek on her computer from falling asleep working
Oh,
all
no.
night. It's like, okay, something's trying to get my attention. But anyway, taking a nap, taking a break, taking time to go within is so, so smart. And I know that when you're ready, the next hero, Shiro's journey will emerge for you. And right now, you're in the celebration. You're in the home with the elixir stage. So
Right.
revel in that for as long as you can, and that'll give you the fuel for the next one. Lisa
Yes.
Campion, thank you so much for joining me on this hero's journey, 12 days of the hero's journey. It's been so dreamy to share this with you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your hero's journey, and thank you for being an important part of mine.
Thank
And
you,
I
Kelly.
love
I'm
you.
so excited that you're doing this, and I can't wait to see your cards, and I'm going to get some. Yeah.
Hey! Oh,
Yay.
ooh, ooh. But just don't read them. Get them, but don't read them. Just kidding. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll read them.
I'm working through the
I'm
tarot.
sure they're wonderful. So.
Well, thank you so much. And everybody, make sure you check out lisacampion.com. Check out The Art of Psychic Reiki. Buy it and read it. And know that by the time you do, Lisa will be like, okay, this is cool. I'm good with this. Okay. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thank
much.
you, honey. Thank you.
You're a hero on a hero's journey. Don't forget that. Sweet dreams until we meet again.